Hello, I'm back. Today I'm going to do a quick little lesson about market equilibrium. And the reason I say I'm back is because Robbie is not here. He's actually somewhere in Florida. But anyways, here we go. So first we should probably look at what equilibrium is, like the definition. It's basically the point where the demand curve meets the supply curve. I don't remember if you know what a demand and supply curve look like, but basically a demand curve goes downward and to the right because as prices get lower, people want to buy more because they could save their money, and that's just the law of demand. And the supply curve goes upward and to the right because as prices rise, like market price, producers want to produce more because then they can make more money. Money's a big factor in economics. And equilibrium, that's the golden point. That's where demand and supply curves intersect, and people are constantly trying to work to get to this point, but they never really get there, and I'll clear up why this is in a minute. So let's see if I have a goal to represent equilibrium. Looks like I don't, but this will have to do because, everything's gold on the inside. So here is your standard equilibrium graph. You got your supply curve, your demand curve, and there, right where they intersect, is equilibrium. Alright, so we're going to look at an example of equilibrium. So let's say we have a guy named Jack, and he is a very ambitious young fellow. Good looking too. Thank you for complimenting my drawing. Jack, his parents give him 20 big ones, $20,000, because they think he should open a shop and sell his coffee. So, he goes small. He saves some of his money, and he buys a little shop that can produce 10,000 cups of coffee a year, and he decides to sell them at $1 a cup. He's not too confident about his market this year. So, here's where he is on his supply curve. Consumers, however, they think, wow, this coffee's cheap, this coffee's affordable, this coffee's good, we want more. So they say, hey, we want 60,000 cups this year. So when demand is greater than supply, this is known as a shortage, because he is short of this 50,000 cups that he needs to produce. And he can't whip these 50,000 cups out of thin air, so he'll think to himself, hey, instead of trying to make up for that 50,000, which I can't, why don't I just raise my prices to where demanders are willing to pay, which is actually right here. Let's just call this $4. And he'd probably say that in a less nerdy way, but just for the purposes of this video. So now we're going to look at an example of a surplus. So let's say Jack, with his 20,000, is very confident that his coffee is good, confident in the market. So he opens big. He buys a very big shop that can produce, let's say, 80,000 cups of coffee a year, and he decides he's very confident that people will buy it, so he sells it at starting price $4 a cup. So here's where he is on his supply curve. There we go. But consumers are thinking that's demand curve. Consumers are thinking $4 is a little much for me. Bo's coffee shop down the road sells them at $3 a cup, and it's just as good because it's also mass produced. So no, we only want 20,000 cups of coffee this year. So when supply is greater than demand, that's known as a surplus. And that is not good for surplus. That's very messy. That's not good for Jack, alright? He's only producing 25% of his capacity for his coffee shop. He's selling 20,000, and he can produce 80,000. That's 25%, and that's not a good number for him. So what he's going to have to do is he's going to have to lower his prices to where demanders are willing to pay, and I'll just make that $2. So there we go. I hope this helped. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.